All right, I am back again to continue my energy update slash download that came through. It was so interesting. As soon as I started talking about like women and the divine feminine energy not being recognized all the time, it's so frustrating. Like everybody always like when they mean in general like God or the creator or someone who's created something brilliant, we automatically use male and masculine like terminology, and it's so frustrating. It's like as if women or the feminine has never created anything, and as if the feminine is not notorious for creation itself. It's insane. It always boggles me how people who are supposedly like woke or like awake or connected to their intuition like miss that, or like are a part of that, like what's it called, like misogynistic or patronizing sexist like approach to like speaking about things. And like right as I was saying that, I got a call from my mother, like interrupting it to give me something, to ask what I needed. And so it's very interesting. I feel like the feminine, the message I'm kind of feeling now, and that I've been getting from my highest self or source or spirit or whatever you want to call it, is that I need to start asking and receiving what I want. Like, instead of being the one that's always giving and asking other people what they want or what they need, be the one to receive. And perhaps that's why there's this drastic like miscommunication happening around the feminine and things like that, is because the feminine is not in her zone, in her space, and I mean her to represent the energy of the feminine, and it has nothing to do with gender. But yeah, because today I'm gonna put this up a little bit, sorry about that. Today I brought this deck with me, the Legendary Ladies, out of all the decks. I think I've been carrying it with me for the last 2 days, and earlier I drew this card, bold, but we're gonna see what we get now for some last minute messages. Okay. So what can you tell me about this situation with the Erin Brockovich or fun with Dick and Jane kind of situation? What do I need to know? I think there's 3 things I need to know, or like 3 parts to it. Or maybe something with 3. Inner Beauty, Demeter. Oh my gosh, somebody named Murphy. It's so interesting. I was looking at a sign and it said like a pole was blocking the Papa's part, and it just said Murphy. And I thought of my cousin whose name is Murphy. And then the first person on here to comment is Isabella Murphy. And then Murphy is like, it's the second part of the name, not the first. Thank you for the compliment regarding my hair. And so like the second card that I just showed is this one, which is really nice hair, Harvest. So I feel like I'm on point about what I was just saying about the divine feminine receiving, needing to receive and be in a receiving sort of energy, and like release control over trying to create like the pull or the magnetism, and just be like the energy of what you are attracting. So for example, this would be like, instead of like wearing the perfume of flowers that would attract bees, you would be the energy or the essence or the frequency of the flower itself. I don't know if you hear those clicks. Okay. Aubrey Anna. That's pretty interesting. That's the A here. I don't know how to pronounce this. Amaterasu. Inner Beauty. So we have A's and M's being present here, because here you have A and M. Obviously, the letters A and M sound like am and remind me of like I am statements, like I was just saying about the flower versus the perfume or the scent of the flower. It's like you are it, I am it, being in the frequency of things rather than trying to control or contrive or even manifest, because I feel like even the word like manifest is like man. It's like the energy of like, or even like masculine, acting, working, trying to do something versus being that which you want. You know, it's a difference. I don't know why I'm reading the comments today. I think it's gonna be my last one. It says, have you studied the ancient Greeks? Medea was a divine feminine. The Greeks, studying the ancient Greeks, the Greek is fascinating. I am not sure. I often confuse Greeks and Romans. I recently read a book called Circe or Circe, depending on how you like pronounce it. And I'm not sure if it was Greek or Roman mythology. However, I do believe Medea is in this book, so I will pull that one. The third card that came out is this one. We'll get to that one soon. Give me a moment. Let me look up Medea. I believe she's in here. That's another M. Does anybody know like the significance of the letter M? Like, what does that stand for? Oh, Medea is not in here. She's not in here. No. I can talk about my personal connection with Medea. Medea obviously reminds me of like Tyler Perry's Medea. It also sounds like my idea, Medea, my idea. And I think the sounds of words are very important, like what words they sound like. 1 second. So it feels like Medea was scorned, like someone was like saying like my idea, like it was stolen, which is the energy that I was talking about before in the live energy update that I was in before that hasn't been posted yet. I'll post that one after I finish this one. It feels like somebody who was scorned and who like spent their lives trying to take back or convince other people that their property was their property. Which interestingly enough reminds me of the Black woman who wrote the original book about the Matrix. And even there is that M-A, Matrix, M-A, Medea, M-A. And then we have the A-M here. It's so interesting how like these things work and how they connect. So it does feel like there's some sort of reflection going on with AM and MA. Like they're reflections of each other, and if they were numbers, it'd be like a palindrome, right, of each other. Would they? I don't know. But what I'm feeling with that is like this, I was gonna say this reflection of like the masculine and the feminine like reflecting each other, but I feel like it's a reflection of the feminine against the feminine. It's all the ways in which the divine feminine energy has been pit against one another. Like if you didn't know, like women are often all the time pit against each other. If you're interested in female rap at all, it happens all the time. Like the tabloids are constantly trying to pit female rap artists and all female artists against each other way more often than they do the males. And so it's like we've taken on this task ourselves as feminine people of like comparing and like fighting against each other, but it's just one. I believe the fish from the movie Nemo, and when they were in the doctor's in the dentist's office in the fish tank, and I think her name was Flo. It was a purple fish, and she was always beefing with her twin sister who was literally just her reflection. And right now the time is 6:22, and there are supposedly, I don't believe this little count, but supposedly 2 people watching and 2 thumbs up, so that's 22 again. So it's like all this mirroring energy, but it's like the mirroring against the self. And so I feel like the message is like you're fighting and upset with yourself for not like attracting certain things into your life, but like you're also the reason why like there's a delay, so to speak. And I'll just give you an example that I like recently realized. I was listening to a friend of mine talk about going camping, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've always wanted to go camping, and like I was just upset that I've never been camping. And then I thought to myself, like, I can go camping whenever I want. It's just that I'm like waiting on someone else to like ask me, or waiting on someone else to introduce me. But it's always like, if I really wanted to go camping, I could go camping. I could probably go camping every day if I wanted to. But it's like, you're upset with like this version of yourself for not doing it or not attracting the situation. But it's like, it's your current self that's responsible, because you see yourself as like very limited. Like you have a very limited perspective. And obviously in this, like in this case, in this scenario, I'm talking about myself. I'm always talking about myself. That's why I do these things. 1 second. So as this is I guess coming up right now, or as this is important right now, the reason I'm doing this live right now, there must be a clearing, or like a healing or undoing of this, like anger at like your own echo, anger at your own reflection, disappointment with your own self, letting that go, and like re-empowering yourself to be one, to be the one person that you've always wanted to see in the world, like people say. I'm gonna read this comment. I try not to read comments, but I feel called to read this one, by Charles Frawley. It says, you are on the correct path. It's the universe guiding you and reassuring you of your hard work. Okay, yeah, I guess I agree with that. I'm very particular about some words, but I guess in general, I agree with that. I think hard work needs to be perceived in terms of internal work. And I think that's also why we have this card here about internal beauty. This deck is by Anne Shin, by the way, to give credit to this person. Yeah, hard work is inner work, because our outer realities reflect our inner realities. And of course, there's tons of inner... Why did the screen just black out? Is it back on? No, it's not back on. Oh my gosh. Is it back on now? I don't know why the screen just blacked out. Okay, so I won't be on here long. It's literally what, right when I was talking about, like, there's been a lot of interference. Obviously, like I just said, our inner reality reflects our outer reality, but obviously there's been a lot of interference. There's been a lot of fuckery. Things in our food, things in our schools, things in our family, things with our friends, and in the air, everything, to make it so much more difficult for you to be like clear-headed and like in a state of love. I'm gonna read this one because it just fell down. But ultimately, we're the creator, and we're power enough to override all these things. And so it's like, yeah, that's what I consider hard work. I don't like the idea, and I don't agree with the idea that we have to like work to live, or that you have to work hard to deserve something. The truth is that we already deserve everything, because we are love itself. We are God. We are all one. We are already abundant. We are naturally that way. We are naturally perfect. But everything has been so fucked with and so messed up that like the hard work is about returning and getting back and remembering like who we are now, which is interesting to think about. It's also very simple. It's like, I think it was like in the Alchemist or something. I didn't read the book, so I'll just say it was in that movie Onward. If you've seen that movie, like they did all that work to just return to the spot that they were originally. But the difference between like when they were there originally and when they returned there was like the experience that they required and the memories that resurfaced along the way back to the start, so to speak. All right, let me sit this right here so I can read the card. All right. Drawing this card means finding your own inner beauty and shining it onto the world. Like the Japanese goddess Amaterasu, if you've been disappointed or discouraged, look within yourself for the light you need to go forward. So it looks like, yeah, like going forward. I'm just noticing like this is a red sun, apparently, and it's so interesting. My friend was talking about seeing the colors red and blue over and over, and like now I'm seeing red and blue over and over. Shinto, this is Japanese goddess. Where is Shinto? Is that in Japan or near Japan, or am I mispronouncing it? This word Amaterasu, if I'm even pronouncing it correctly, it reminds me of the word amateur. And so it's like the amateur is someone who like doesn't know, so they're technically like at the start. Ooh, I don't know if y'all heard that, like at the start, like returning to the start. So for people who this message is resonating with, there could be like themes. There could literally be like people returning from like an earlier thing or something from the past, like getting completed. I'll give you an example. Like earlier this week, whatever time is, I got this crack in my windshield fixed that had been there for 3 years nearly. And so it's like it's returning to that time, like right before my windshield was cracked, if that makes sense. Like as if it never happened, but with the like experiences of all that happened in between. Whew! Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna read this. It says, amazing, why can't I talk? Oh my gosh. Amazing energy and insights. I sub to follow that energy. Ah, that's so sweet. Yeah, a reset. A reset. That's a perfect word for it. A reset, a revealing. I feel like a lot of people, whenever we talk about like the world or earth or whatever you want to call it, like being a reset, I feel like there's a lot of like fear around it. Or whenever I tell people that I believe that it's not even a belief, I know all of this is going to end, people automatically get very fearful and like try to encourage me as if I'm like, it's a depressive statement, but it's not. I feel like it's depressive to want this to continue. Like, why would you want this to continue? Children are being sold. People are being sold. Like, slavery still very much exists. The prison system, people are being poisoned and then being charged to arm and a leg for the cure. Like, it's like insane. And like, why would that be like the bright outlook would be for this to continue? Why wouldn't the solution or the positive perspective wouldn't that be for this to end and for it to be completely redone and imagined in a better way, which would also be the original way, because this place is perfect. This is literally heaven. It's supposed to be, and it is returning to that, and it is that way now. I just had a thought. Where would I just said that? And it's just like slipped away. What was I saying? It's also, I feel like the movie Nemo, since I mentioned Nemo, it's like they go on that journey just to return back to the anemone. I live in a anemone. Back to the anemone, and like it's the same two fish in the same anemone, but it's like completely different. It's a restart, it's a refresh. So yeah, like let me know, like, or like let yourself know, write it down in your journal or your diary or whatever you keep, or your voice memos, or tell your friend, like if you notice something. There's 3 people here. If you notice something like resetting or restarting like my windshield in your life, and something I also want to emphasize is like when these things happen, like please don't take them for granted. Like these are very important things that are happening. I feel like a lot of the times, because we've been so desensitized to like damn near everything except for like pure love or pure joy. Everything is like, okay, been there, done that, because everything is like so accessible, but it's like an illusion of access. Anyways, I feel like I could go off on tangents. These little things count in terms of progress. Like this world, it'll have you like waiting until like something, the next, it's always gonna be the next thing until like it's the thing. But it's like these things are the thing. Like let me try to like give an example of what I mean. Like from our perspective, when you think of like World War II or World War One or whatever, if those events even happened, we see them now in the future as just like one event. This was World War One, you know? But if you were there in World War One or World War Two, whatever, this is just an example, it would have been these small events that like led up to it. Like you wouldn't see it as this is World War One. It would have been this day this was announced on the news, or this day this came in the mail, and then this day this person got recruited. It would be these little small steps, and because Johnny was gone, we had to do this at the farm. Like it would be all these little bitty things. Like don't let the world like convince you that it's not always now, and also like that these little bitty things are not the thing itself, because it always is. I always tell people, like when they're like, oh, maybe this is something about what's going to happen in the future, and I'm like, but it's happening now. Like you got the message about something in the future now, that means it's happening now. We as eternal beings who never die, we live forever, we are free from the confines of time and the limitations in which we've been told or taught what time even is. In this experience, we can go beyond these things. We can override anything. So please don't limit your perspective, or limit yourself at all. I feel like there's been a lot of like messages about limitations in both this live and the one that I did previously. There's a black car here, and I just remembered how my screen blacked out, so this is gonna be discontinued shortly. But I feel like I need to get one more message, and I feel like it might be from a book. So let me get my book that I've been carrying with me in my ride, in my whip. All right, so here we have Sisterhood of the Traveling Pans, speaking of the divine feminine energy, which is in all of us. Traveling pans, and I just mentioned traveling, like the onward or the alchemist. Okay, here we are. Here we are. What did I say? She went up to her room and recharged the batteries. Recharge, reset, recycles. She went up to her room and recharged the batteries for her camera. She gazed at her sleeping computer, the power button pulsing under its masking tape like a slow heartbeat. Usually her computer was flashing and whirring all evening as she IM'd her friends. Tonight they were all far away. Somehow the masking tape looked like a gag over the computer's mouth. "Hey, Mimi," she said. Mimi was sleeping. Tibby added some food to Mimi's dish and changed her water. Mimi stayed asleep. Later, as Tibby began to doze off with her lights and clothes still on, her thoughts came unstuck in that way they did. And she thought of geriatric diapers and antiperspirant and sterile wipes and bacteria-free soap and extra absorbent panty shields and Bailey lying in a mess on the floor. So I feel like this also just like reiterates what I was saying. I know a lot of people who watched this one didn't watch my first one because there was literally no one watching that one. But I mentioned about a download that I was getting about a huge like revelation from a company about like how they've like caused illnesses within people, whether through pollution or something like that, or they've stolen money from someone. I feel like this connects to it, and I feel like what I was saying earlier is that it might be something to do with like sound or something with loud sounds. I was like, it could be Netflix, it could be like a medical company, could be Amazon. I don't know which company. I did get the letters N, Z, or V. So one of those as like the name of the company or the symbol that they use, an NZ or V. There's always here. Oh, and forgive me if this has already happened and I just don't know about it because I don't have Instagram anymore and I don't watch the news. I only have YouTube and Substack. So I feel like I miss a lot of news. So sorry if this already happened, I just don't know about it. But I feel like the mentioning of like these very specific devices, I feel like there's gonna be some sort of like lawsuit or something. I don't feel like I know. There's gonna be some sort of like lawsuit or something that results in a lot of people getting relief, whether this is financial like relief, or they get like a bonus or a check or something, or they get like debt relief, or they get like access to something like better healthcare, or a trip, paid vacation, like something like that. There's gonna be relief, and it's a lot of people, because I keep seeing these bees here, and bees live in a hive. It's a lot of bees, but I know for certain that a lot of the bees in this area of Texas where I live are non-stinging, and so it's not going to be something that ends up hurting people. It's something where a lot of people are going to be treated, because busy bees, they work very hard working bees, and I feel like this little passage that I read just confirmed it, like a recharge, a reset. And I feel like it is deeply connected to the overall scheme of things in terms of ascension, which is very interesting. I feel like I was exposed to people who were like, what's it called? Not talking down, but like judging. I can't think of the word right now. Talking down about people who believed in ascension and saying it was another thing that was made up by like, I don't know, another form of like warfare, spiritual warfare. And I just want to say this was my response to them, is that like, even if like this idea or the way that people are perceiving ascension would also, it would be a part of ascension. It would be a part of the rising in consciousness, which is ascension basically is return to Christ consciousness, because it is still something that is corralling people to becoming awake. And I think an example of this would be like, what's an example I can use that's not that example? I don't know why I keep thinking of this like show called like The Mist or something, or this movie. There's like The Mist, where like everybody like has to go in that gas station, and like if you go out into like the mist or the fog, you'll like die or something. And it's like, because you've like instilled this fear, or like made this fear up, the people in that gas station are going to be way more conscious than they would have been had that experience never happened. Like before, they were like going about their day, la 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 la, like driving down the road and like living in this matrix. But because something like disrupted that and like changed it, even if it was like made with this negative intent, it can still lead to something that ultimately ends up being for the benefit of them. And it's like that story about like, I don't know if that's a good example, but it's like that saying that people say, like, God moves in mysterious ways, like when when something like bad happens, and then like later on, like you realize like if that wouldn't have happened, then this wouldn't have happened. I'm sure there's some like philosophical way to put that that's better, but that's all I got for now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else, because I feel like I've like butchered these last few like moments of like stuttering and like not making a lot of sense. I just saw an orange car, which I feel like is very rare, so I'm just going to someone says Zoe. I'm just going to reiterate what I said in my last energy update, which I would highly recommend everybody watch. That one's called like the Dragonfly and the Grasshopper. But basically I was saying there that it was confirmed to me, because I had a message before that in my Bolter energy update called the Bolter, and I was saying like there's going to be some message in the sky. And then in my last one that I did, the Dragonfly and the Grasshopper, it was confirmed to me that the something in the sky that would be like the message would be the suns, 2 suns. And I feel like that orange, and yeah, this guy is wearing an orange hat, which is like the color of the sun, orange, yellow, is confirmed. So keep a lookout for that, because even if it's happening in the future, it's happening now. And since someone mentioned Zoe 101 reminds me of like how they made that movie, the Zoe 101 movie, which was like after the season had ended weirdly, and then like right after that movie came out, the Zoe 101 movie, that documentary dropped called Quiet on the Set, which was about like revealing everything that was happening behind the scenes at Nickelodeon, including like some of the very inappropriate things that happened with Zoe 101. And also just the number 101 is like that palindrome that I was saying earlier with the letters AM and MA, that palindrome feel. The numbers 1 always represent to me like a corridor, like an opening, a door, and like 0 is like a mirror. And so that's also a theme that came up in here, like mirroring. And so it's like, I feel like it's multiple meanings, 2 of which are like revelations, things being revealed, the truth coming out, but also like healing that internal war with the self, and in particular the feminine self, by surrendering like that overworked masculine part of yourself, becoming a non-stinging bee. Okay, hope this made sense. It's 6:44, so I'm gonna take that as my sign to peace out. Thank you so much to everybody who commented and subscribed. Thank you so much for supporting me, especially people who've been here for years. Like, thank you so much. I'll be working so hard to make sure I get these out, especially in a very authentic way, natural way. I will see you soon. Make sure to check the descriptions, because there's always great links in there. And have a wonderful time, and I'll see you soon. We'll all see each other soon. Bye.